The new normal in security and the crucial role played by technology in that, which is a panel discussion. And I'm sure would be wonderfully moderated as always by Colonel SM Kumar, co-founder and MD, MitKat Advisory Services. So he's joined by a very well-versed and very strong panel of what should I say, veterans in the security industry, veterans and experts in the security industry. So over to you, Colonel Sam, now.
Okay, so my first question, the most often asked question, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Perfect, sir. Perfect.
Thank you. So we are live now? Thank you.
Yes,
okay,
please.
Okay, you may have heard this one. So there is one of the journalists, he asked a general in Ladakh, sir, are we going to war? So general said, dear, I don't know. I'm just a general. I'm not a TV journal or I'm not a TV anchor. So that is the times we are living in. The fake news and the media, probably news and rumors fly faster than the real news. And then there is also a pandemic of webinars. So amidst all that, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. And then very, very good afternoon to you. So as always, delighted to moderate this star-studded panel. So thank you, Informa Markets, Mr. Pankaj Jain, Adish, Team IFSEC. Indeed an honor for MitKat to be the knowledge partner 6th time in a row. We have Powerpack Panel. So first we have Rupal Sinha. Rupal leads the business in one of India's largest company by headcount. Rupal probably over 3.5 lakhs if the count has not gone up. Vivek Tiwari is in a global role in aviation business, one of the sectors which has been hit the hardest. And I love your background, Vivek. You know, and Mushtaq is in a hemispherical role, and he brings in rich experience from Germany, Middle East, Africa, apart from India. Vivek Prakash leads security for probably the most iconic global brand in banking and finance, the gold standard, absolutely. He also chairs ASIS Bangalore. John is a pioneer. He will join us in drone technologies. Roop Singh Kuntal is a tall industry leader. And then Ritesh Deokar leads Milestone, a globally reputed manufacturing company, OEM, what we call. So warm welcome, Roop and Rupal, Vivek and Vivek, Mushtaq, Ritesh and John. So probably I'll take about 3 minutes. We had a dropout. Sahima couldn't join us because of some personal reasons, last minute emergencies, you know, COVID times, very uncertain times. So I'll probably take a minute extra. I'll take about 3 minutes to set the context, and then I will open to the panel. So I hope that's fine with everyone. Okay, just give me a thumbs up. All our industry veterans, so thank you. So let me start. Just before I start, the quick disclaimer, because we have people in very, very sensitive roles. John, very warm welcome. You're a pioneer in drone technologies, and we are absolutely looking forward to and love that Jonet logo behind you.
Thank you.
So before I start, a very quick disclaimer, because most of the entire panel, almost everybody is in a very, very sensitive role. So the views expressed by the panelists are their own, and they don't necessarily constitute the views of their companies or their organizations. So ladies and gentlemen, so here I go, my 3 minutes. So we live in absolutely extraordinary times, and apart from the healthcare crisis, we have the most severe economic dislocation in the last 90 years, probably. And even as some countries are flattening the curve, we in India, probably our curves seem to be headed in the wrong direction. Our corona graph is going up, and then, you know, so globally there are 30 million cases. India has crossed 5 million, out of which about 4 million have recovered. So that makes it about just under 80% have recovered, but still we have 1 million active cases and about 82,000 deaths, so which is about 60 per million. Even Pakistan has flattened the curve. Pakistan, by the way, is doing quite well. So there is a bit of problem in Bangladesh, but Sri Lanka has done exceptionally well, just 13 deaths so far. So just 0.62 deaths per million, one of the lowest in the world. And Maldives and Bhutan has also done very well. So there are a lot of people in our neighborhood who are doing damn well. The economy graph has gone down. In last quarter, we almost lost a quarter of GDP, 24%. And that's at a time when the stock market went up 26%. So obviously the future looks bright, and the upper startup for them, it is probably bright for the markets, but you know, for the whole country and the whole all startup, people who have lost their jobs, people in informal sector, the future doesn't look that bright. If we look at the global picture, and I just want to set the stage because it is one of the early panels, because we are in an era of geopolitical recession. We're looking at the US-China decoupling, trade wars, tensions are mounting by the day. And as we move from a US-centric unipolarity to a China-centric bipolarity in Asia, two of Asia's oldest civilization states are almost on the brink of a conflict. in all domains, in physically, militarily, in political, economy, diplomatic, and China is also trying to increase its influence in the neighborhood, in Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Iran, etc. And then we also just had a US Maldives deal. Now, Maldives is very strategically located at a place where lots of sea lanes of communication, lots of global oil flows from there and minerals flow. So we just hope that India and China will move from confrontation to conversation. So that's my hope. Quad nations are also kind of intensifying their cooperation at the political as well as diplomatic level. Japan is shedding its pacifist outlook of nearly 75 years. Protests are returning across the world. A very funny thing is that we always had Sweden and Norway giving, moral lectures to everyone else. So protests are happening against migrants even in these countries. And protests are happening for a large number of reasons across the world, from corruption and large youth unemployment to race riots, election-related violence against migrants. Now, in such a complex and uncertain environment, as security, safety, and resiliency professionals, our hands will be full. Now, on the brighter side, one of the consequences of this COVID-induced lockdown has been the rapid digital transformation, and that has also, of course, been accompanied by rising cyber threats. So what would have taken probably kind of digital transformation would have taken 5 years has probably got compressed in 5 months. The low-touch economy is here to stay, and the future of security and technology looks inseparable. A combination of big consumption market, high working age population, and growth potential keeps South Asia attractive to global players. And as our economies rebound from the worst economic downturn in this very geopolitically and socio-economically turbulent environment, and this is happening at a time when consumer behavior is changing rapidly, there are new business models, rapid tech innovations are coming in. So job of security and risk leaders would be extremely important, extremely interesting, and very, very challenging and critical to the success of businesses. So our CEOs will increasingly look up to us to de-risk the business, secure the most vital and critical assets, and do so proactively, efficiently, effectively, and economically. And my last bit, I think the pace of technological innovation is rapidly, accelerating. And I love the statistics, and I've repeated it again and again. So sorry. So telephone took 75 years, and radio took 38, and TV took 13, Facebook took 4, internet took 4, Facebook took 3, WhatsApp and Insta took a year and a half, and Angry Birds Space app took 35 days, and Pokemon Go took 19 days. ByteDance apps have gone viral in less than 10 days. And Upa Gangnam Style and a wing goes. So we are living in a super fast world, and that is only getting further, accelerated by Corona. So COVID has further accelerated the technological dimension, and today that would be the centerpiece of our discussion. So मैं अपनी वाणी को लगाता हूँ विराम, and hereafter I will go to the more esteemed panelists. So let me start with Vivek Tiwari. Vivek, I'm kind of singling you out first. Because last year, I remember you had invited me, it was less than 12 months ago. It looks like a long time back. You had invited me. I was in that hall. Entire global team was there, yours. It was completely, the mood was completely upbeat. Your company could do no wrong. More than 50% market share, everything was upbeat. And yet, picture is completely changed 9 months down the line. So actually, just want to understand from you, So, things have not gone as per the script. You're probably regulated by 193 super regulators across the world. Each country has got a regulator for aviation. So how severe has been impact? How do you cope? Any lessons organizationally, personally? Many people may have kind of lost their jobs. Any usage of technology and any other points for the good of fraternity? So a lot of questions, all open-ended, so all yours. So we'll request all to keep it to about 3 minutes so that we can we can get back, in round 2 if there is any remarks. And in the meanwhile, I'll ask people who are, who have joined in, and thank you for joining in large numbers. Please feel free to put your, questions in the chat, and I'm sure esteemed panelists would be able to take that. So Vivek Tiwari, all yours.
Yeah, thanks, Kansam, and good afternoon, everyone. I'll start with the disclaimer that the views are strictly my own and don't necessarily reflect the view of the organization or any industry body. Well, aviation, as you rightly put, Colonel Sam, is kind of in the worst phase since its inception. As per the projections, the airline industry per se globally is looking at a loss close to $400 billion US in 2020 compared to 219. You add another 100 billion loss with the airports are looking at 60% less seats availability, 2,880 million lesser passengers expected to fly this year. Couple this with the risk around the scare around traveling and the downturn in economy, and now you have a perfect recipe for disaster. So it's expected, as per the projections, that it could take, in the best case scenario, about 2.5 to 3 years for a full recovery. And if these things don't go as per the script, the best case scenario, then it could take as long as 5 years. That's how bad it is. 30% airlines globally across are expected to go down under if things don't improve very quickly. Now, this is a very complex ecosystem. When you talk of aviation, it's not only how resilient you are or how strong your own internal practices or systems are. You are a lot dependent on, like you said, 193 regulators. The equation is much more complex. It's not only 193 regulators, you add 193 governments to it, because you also have scenarios where the government and regulators at many places don't see, they're not on the same page on many things. Government wants something else, the regulator says something else, and vice versa. That complicates the situation further. Now, as you stand today, and as we talk now, prior to COVID in February 2020, if I talk of India, there were around 3,600 departures per day, out of which 1,700, of course, was Indigos, roughly close to 40%. Today, despite the government claiming that you can fly at 60% of your capacity, only about 1,150 flights are operational per day, which means just about 1/3 of the capacity is being utilized. And there too, if you talk of the load factor, it's just about 60%. And to keep your neck above the water, you need to maintain a passenger load factor of around 80% and above. Then only you go profitable. So that kind of even complicates the situation further. Now, what are the organizations doing scenario? So leadership is very critical, and leadership is playing a very dynamic role. They have their eyes and ears to the ground. They are very flexible. They are agile. They are very nimble-footed. They are doing whatever they can, including involving the regulators, the governments, and working around. But then the recovery is not that easy. So certain innovative things were done, like involving the regulator and kind of converting the passenger aircrafts into cargo aircrafts. So now almost every airline, we started with that, and every airline is doing that. A lot of cargo flights are going. In a small way, it's supplementing whatever is coming into your coffer. Then if I talk of Indigo, they did a lot about, in the Vande Bharat mission, proactively going to the government and saying, okay, we can cover certain sectors and get people back to our home soil. That is bringing in certain more things. A lot can be done if we talk of future recovery, because that's going to be slow and long. But involving technology in certain ways is going to be the key. In what shape it will come up, in what way it will come up, these are still questions which only the future can answer. But and people, I would say, in the end, is all that would matter. People would play a very key role. So keeping them motivated, keeping them aligned to the organizational agenda during such tough times, where on one hand you see that your colleague who is working next to you has lost his jobs. There have been many loss of jobs, and if you talk of the entire travel tourism industry combined, then as per the global estimates, almost 197 million jobs are at stake globally. Many of these people are very, very scared. How to still keep this workforce motivated and get the best out of them is another challenge that the leadership is grappling with. So normal risks apart, they are part of parcel of their daily lives. But the aviation, travel, and tourism sector is looking at unprecedented times. They were never before we have faced this kind of a crisis. And we hope that things do change. How long will it take? Anybody's guess. But these are really, really tough times. Thank you. I've been given my 3 minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Vivek. I think, and I really appreciate keeping to time, because we have a biggish panel. And Mushtaq, so let me come to you next. So if we look at South Asia, we still remain one of the world's most dynamic regions, albeit we still have high corona cases. We still have shrinking GDPs. We have rising in youth unemployment. We have a fragile security environment, some geopolitical tensions among major powers, very, very kind of flexible geopolitics, lots of technological developments, digital transformation, contactless technologies. So against this backdrop, how do you see the security dynamics in the new normal? Do you see the role of CSOs changing? Are the expectations of business leaders from security professionals changing? And then one more question I just want to ask you, because I want to draw upon this global and hemispherical experience. You go to a lot of countries, more than 50 countries, 3 continents. So you come across varying regulatory environments. So do you feel good regulations have actually helped some countries? So I think lots of questions again. So
Thanks,
All
Colonel
yours.
Sam. It's a pleasure being here in this panel discussion. So as you see, the recent challenges which the pandemic has induced upon us has brought a lot of proactive responses, and these developments are going to change the basic role and expectations of security. Gone are the days when the responsibility of security is going to be limited to architectural security policies and procedures or security subsystems. It's going to move on much, much further. Now, why security? Why security? Because in this pandemic, in this entire gamut of things, what we saw was security was omnipresent. The response which it gave was phenomenal, and the solutions which it gave was, out of the box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to summarize the expectations that the stakeholders are going to have into three categories: the expectations in mitigation and preparedness during the response stage and during the recovery stage. Very quickly, one of the most important thing, the expectation comes in when somebody has expectations. There is a need. There's a need because of that expectation, and there is a firm belief that somebody is going to stand up to that expectation, and that the corporate security is having, right? So if you analyze what has been the explicit need of all the stakeholders. So what I see in my experience directly in this particular role and while interacting with a lot of people is information. That is the prime need, information. Now, why information? Why information? Because the available information during the pandemic was very nebulous. It was coming from various sources, often not clear, inaccurate, and based on this decision making was being carried out. So I think this is where the most important expectation is being set from corporate security, which somebody requires to live up to. Now, where all are these information needs fitting in? So let me quickly touch upon mitigation. Gone are the days when from mitigation you only had to look after your emergency response plans, roles and responsibilities, etc., etc. Now it is moving step forward. What could be these? Corporate security now is expected to be actively involved in identification of critical processes, deciding on the thresholds for suspending operations of facilities or restricting travels, evaluating essential service contracts, etc., etc. This is going to be in the mitigation and preparedness phase. Now, once you come to the response phase, yes, it is expected that you would be responding, but that is done and dusted. That is an accepted thing about your role. It moves further ahead. Now, what are these while responding? That was analysis of the data, summarizing that data, modeling of that data, that information, and presenting it to your stakeholder for informed decision making. No other better department than security. Why? Because all the information would be either converging or would be analyzed here. You're carrying out business impact analysis during any interruption, supply chain disruption analysis, etc., etc. And once you move to recovery phase, it is not expected that you are only going to, the security professionals or the security function is only going to deal with upgrading security, etc., etc. Furthermore, now what are your further expectations? You are going to analyze, it would be expected that you're analyzing supply chain disruption risk. You are going to analyze what is the qualitative and the quantitative impact of these crises on the finances. You're going to, it would be expected to carry out a stakeholder analysis. Such are the things which is going to be expected from security function now. Gone are the days when it is going to be limited only to conventional roles of the security. Okay. One of the other very important area which I see the expectation coming is, this is forward looking. What is going to happen is, now when this pandemic is settling down and when companies and corporations are going to look inwards, they are going to identify a lot of gaps. Similarly, your customers, your stakeholders, they are going to upgrade their plans, which means there is going to be a deluge of these information which would flow into corporations and would be asking, what are your emergency response plan, contingency plans, disaster management plan? pandemic plan, infection plan, etc., etc. So here, corporate security professionals would be expected to fill in and provide these information. So that's the first part of your question, Colonel Sam. The second part of the question is about the regulation. You know, my experience states that the geographies which are actively regulating the topics of resilience, whether you talk about risk management, you talk about emergency response, business continuity, or you talk about disaster management, etc., they are functioning much better. They are more resilient. And the only nature and the only answer to this is because this involves a certain degree of rigor to implement, right? And not doing so makes you accountable to a lot of actions. And the most important thing is, yes, then you get budgets, because then you get resources and you get the organizational support. That is why it is so important. So I'll take a pause and hand it over back to you, Sam.
So thank you, Mushtaq. And if I can just supplement that point of yours about information, our actually information services has grown up by about 30 to 40%. While all other services businesses have gone down, information business has actually gone up. So absolutely, I think there is a point you made is market substantiated. And so Rupal, let me come to you next. Sorry, ladies, I should have come first, but you know, so the risk management strategies in this new normal, which is like where we have new risks, we have changing consumer behaviors, we have evolving business models, and you have lots of P&L experience, and you still handle a very large P&L. So all the whatever we do in security and risk, that must remain business relevant and must ensure protection of organizations' most vital and critical assets, including people, information, material assets, brand, etc. So what will the new normal in security look like? How are you or your customers using technology innovatively to de-risk their security and businesses, and what technologies probably will redefine the security in the coming days? So just all yours, Rupal. And Vivek Prakash will come to you next after this. Rupal, please go ahead. You are on mute, I think. We can't hear you, Rupal.
Is it better? Is it clear now?
Yes. Yeah,
all right. So I will just increase the. So I'll break these three your entire question or the observation you're seeking into three phases. A, what were the aspects which are responsible for this new normal now? Now, the social habits have changed, economic impact was there, and the security trends changed. So let's look at what happened in Q1 and then now as an immediate step, and then what is going to sustain over a period of time. So in terms of social habits, you know, the increased focus on health and hygiene, prevention became more important because of the lockdown. Work from home became the new normal, and increased navigation on social media because you know, you needed you had a fear, you had a level of you know, you wanted information related to COVID, you wanted information related to restrictions. All these were potential preventions, but potential threats as well. There were not many businesses which actually had these IT policies, and I'm not talking about multinational organization or the sectors like IT who already have flexi timings and their you know, work from home cultures, but the mass level of MSME sectors and also large organizations which were following a traditional role of they all had IT policies, but following a traditional role of coming into the organization and physical presence into a building is more important, completely got changed. Immediate response was required, and that's why I think security industry came out as an essential services, where the immediate response was a club of you know, convergence of security, which is ManTech, which became IT oriented and logistics oriented. You needed immediate shift of those employees which were actually coming into a building to start working from their home, so that the work process doesn't suffer. And this, of course, it opened a lot of cyber attack and threats as well, because people were unwillingly and going and massive daily trafficking increasing at these platforms, creating a lot of cyber attacks and phishing attacks. So a robust IT infrastructure became very important, and that prevailed in Q1, especially from February. If you say end of the February until June, that became the new normal. That the reaction and the response that was required from the security industry was more related to IT orientation, knowledge sharing to the employees, cloud management, elevating, just do it. IT infrastructure norms became absolutely need of the hour for each of the organizations. So that became in Q1. In coming now into the new normal, when we are seeing the trend, of course, contactless technology is going to prevail. We are seeing a large emphasis on having a thermal scanning coming over. There is a large emphasis on facial recognition to the biometric attendance geotagged completely. We also see these technologies on robotic management, which I'm not going to touch. We have another person who is going to speak about that. So these were the trends which started coming up. Visitor management becoming completely contactless. Within the organization, if people are coming, we had a very unique, we had to respond to a very large customer who really wanted to manage, it's a large bank which are actually, shut down their lot of facilities, but yet wanted to ensure that the flow of people from home to the office is well managed. They wanted to have the social distancing in the offices, in their offices as well. And at the same time, if they work from home, everyone decides from that today I have to go to the office. Suddenly, with the shrinkage of the facility, you may end up having a lot of people in the organization. We had to quickly, evolve, and in less than a week time, we had to actually come up with an app to help them manage their attendance flow or the flow of the people at their offices. So these, these responses were very, very crucial and very timely, which I think we can proudly say that among the security industry did stand test to the ground. In coming to what new technology and how you de-risk the business, I think it's very important that each organization must have a crisis committee. And these crisis committee should continue evaluate the security investment, security technology enablement. Lot of we have seen remote monitoring system creating lot of hubs of command control center and virtually managing the the sites or the even the CISOs today are our employees in each of the home. So to say, because they are handling the most important crucial data, which is our asset. The entire corporate data is actually in everyone's home today. So right from the perimeter fencing, which was restricted to a building, actually went up to a home. So this is an evolution of the new normal, and it is going to stay. Flexibility, India, at least if I have to speak only on India perspective, India definitely has learned the understanding of productivity and flexibility is important to the physical presence of people in the environment. So we see these lot of shifts have come, and the role of security industry today is not limited only to manned. Any manned security going to be more intelligent person behind the guy who can mine the data, analyze, and give a business decision which is much more resilient to the threats. So we have a COVID-19 pandemic, which is definitely going to go, but as an industry, we have really stood by to potentially carve out the pandemic of cyber attack. That's where we see the shift going into. And
Thank you, Rupal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rupal, for that comprehensive presentation. And we kind of noted the points on crisis committee, evaluation of technologies, and actually there are a lot of nice, interesting technology panels to follow. One is being moderated by Sushil Pradhan. immediately after this, probably with a short lunch break. So please feel free to attend that. And one more trend that I picked up in this was that, a global trend, which I forgot to mention, was that there are all these alpha males across the world. We have Putin, and we have Trump, and we have Modi, and we have Bolsonaro, and all the alpha males are topping the chart. And look who are doing well. The New Zealand Prime Minister, New Zealand is doing well. Angela Merkel is a standout, and then Danish PM. Taiwan is a standout, and all are with women. So I think that will be a very interesting point for discussion. I would have loved you to be on that panel, but I think that's a very interesting panel tomorrow afternoon, I think 2:30, being moderated by Hima Bish, and then please feel free to join those panels. So very interesting, but I don't want to kind of keep Vivek. Vivek, thank you for being patient. Vivek, Prakash. Now, I had the honor to visit your amazing campus, and thank you for the great warmth and hospitality, and to you and your team. And apart from that, obviously some amazing technology. That's probably use of technology as its best, most innovative use of technology I saw in your campus. So obviously, I've got three questions for you. First is, so three very eminent speakers have spoken: Vivek Tiwari, Rupal, Sinha, and Mushtaq Khan. Do you want to pick up on any of the themes that they have said, and you want to either kind of reinforce or kind of give alternate viewpoints? Two is any of the technological initiatives that you are taking in, or further improvements you're taking, or the improvements that you have already taken, because you took a lot of improvements even pre-corona, or any of the out-of-box ideas to fundamentally transform the whole security landscape, and the new security design pertaining to your organization. And third would be, we have OEMs here. So we have Ritesh on the panel, and probably he'll follow after you. So you have any advice for OEMs, system integrators, and other people, and probably John deals a lot in the aerial technologies. So probably he will on drone, counter drone. So any advice for the OEM, system integrators, and all? So again, three questions. You can go in any sequence.
Sure. Thank you for having me on the panel, sir. I just wanted to kind of start with some of the comments that the earlier panelists had made. And we have to be realistic about what the future holds for us. It's easy for us to imagine that the coronavirus is going to go away and we're going to be back to normal. I don't think that is happening. And at least in the 6 months to a year horizon, we need to prepare ourselves for potentially a longer term. So while we should maintain optimism, one element that I must say is each organization should look at measures that will further enhance the last 8 months have built such a good brand for corporate security. Now we have to look for further opportunities to kind of enhance our brand further. So and my majority of my comments are going to be targeted towards the OEMs. And thank you for your kind words about the campus. We actually went into contactless entry into the campus by having flyby towers where an employee doesn't need to swipe a card in case they don't wish to choose. So we were on that path. In fact, in the month of March, before we initiated lockdown, we went the thermal screening way, similar to the airport way. So we adapted to that technology, making sure that our employees feel comfortable while they're coming to office. One thing that I must kind of start with is that every adversity kind of brings in an opportunity. It's given a tremendous opportunity for corporate security professionals. Not only have we interpreted the right regulations, guided our organizations to function the way they are currently, but we made sure that people felt safer in whatever working environment they were. We enhanced their working capability. Now is the time for technology to pick up, and I've expressed that on multiple panels earlier. I've been out of the military for about 10 years, and all I see in video analytics is people jumping walls. I don't have that type of a challenge. I have a challenge about people coming into my campus on how video analytics can help me do much more with my cameras. The cameras have been extremely passive. There's nothing significant that comes out of my they're just sitting idle and help me in post-mortem of most of the events. I see the opportunity with cameras as far as making sure, and like I began my statement, I think this is here to stay, at least for a few months, if not a year or maybe year plus. social distancing is going to be the norm, masking is going to be the norm. In case all those norms kind of continue and become the normal, I don't see a better equipment than our cameras delivering it. And we've had the challenge of video analytics coming a significant mile, and now suddenly the 50% of the face is not available because of the mask coming up. I'm still very optimistic because I personally feel that security technology so far was seen as security technology. Now it is going to be seen as a business enabling technology, because ultimately how people come into work and operate, how violations are identified, are going to be a very important part of business operations going forward. So I'm extremely optimistic about how technology will play out. I would definitely want the OEMs, whoever, to kind of think about further integration of all the systems that we use. It's an area I've been struggling with, and I share my thoughts with many others. There was a time when I was looking at an ideal environment where we were looking at 100% compliance as far as occupancy is concerned. With the current state, in case somebody is giving me 99% accuracy also, I think I'll be okay, because ultimately I do not want a cafeteria to be filled up with 500 when the limit is social distancing limit is 250. Earlier I would have fixed that on 250, but now that 5-10% variation of alarming and alerting us would help us. Similarly with the access control, moving from something that we've tried to test was the mobile-based credential checking. I simply can't understand why we still carry these cards. Why can't the mobile QR codes be dynamic in nature? Why can't we offer those to our employees? And every single day, nobody can kind of misuse those credentials. Why are we not building that type of a confidence? And lastly, all these systems kind of giving a result which is making sure that our employees, when they come back to work, feel safer, that they're being kept in a safe environment, that is social distancing is being maintained. There are no idiots on the floor who are not wearing the mask. There are no congregations that are taking place. And we don't, as corporate security professionals, we don't have to police it. The systems automatically generate those reports. That's it. Back to you, sir.
Thank you. What I picked up, learned from you, is that hope is no strategy and no crisis should be wasted. Every adversity is also an opportunity. And you want to do more out of, the systems that you already have. You want to make everything more intelligent. So Mushtaq told a point about intelligence, and you again reinforcing that point. Everything, all the architecture that is there needs to become more intelligent. So I think that, and thank you for the panelists who have been still waiting. And John, I really love, you guys have been very, very cooperative. But I'll come to Ritesh. Since you smiled, and and Rup Singh Kuntalji has got a lot of patience, so probably we'll request you to wait for a little. I'll go to Ritesh. Ritesh, you can say a little bit about your company, because I've had the privilege to see some of your pieces deployed and amazing work you're doing. And you can follow up on any of the themes above and give an OEM perspective. And then following on from what Vivek Prakash has said, and he laid out the expectations from end user. So how are OEMs keeping up with technologies, and in particular what you're doing? All yours. 3 minutes, please, keep it so that we end on time.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Colonel Sam. And I could after listening to Vivek, I could now realize that why was this order kept in such a way, right? So I could and you could have seen my smile also when Vivek Prakash was speaking, right? Because it was like hey Vivek, I have answers for your questions. So yeah, so good. So to start with, so Milestone Systems. We are a global video management software provider, and what makes us really unique is that we call ourselves as an open platform video management software, right? So which actually means that it's not only about our software, right? So it's obviously we make the camera active as to answer Vivek's question, right? So yeah, we give life to the camera, right, and the camera output. But rather than only doing that, we also believe that there should be a platform for all the related technologies, right? To have an open platform to bring on their technologies and work as a unified solution, right? So that is the whole idea why we believe in an open platform, right? So we don't only talk about video management, we also integrate our community partners, our other technology partners onto our platform, right? Which will enable the customer to have a connected solutions, right? So as again, I mean, my answers, my speech will refer Vivek a lot because I could really see a very good use case for our product when Vivek was mentioning, right? So when you talk about access control for that matter, right? So once the access control system has to be linked with the video management software, right? When we talk about analytics, right? And again, I think Mushtaq mentioned about information, right? And the availability of information to take informed decisions. So that is something which our platform really provides the information in a way which is useful to the customer, right? Wherein customers can really take an informed decision in terms of the security aspect of their company, right? And that is where the product, the video management software of Milestone really plays an important role, which talks about a platform for all the related technologies to really give a meaningful solution and to answer customer problems. Okay, and obviously the new normal. Talking about the new normal, and then obviously all the uh, designated speaker has really spoken in depth about it. But yes, I mean, there are going to be processes which we have not seen before, right? So we are going to talk about proximity detection, which is again possible in our software, wherein we will talk about the concentration of a people in a particular area. As again Vivek mentioned about the number of people, he wants to have a data as to how many people are there in present in his cafeteria, and whether that is as per the regulatory norms or what they have set for themselves. Then we talk about then the new normal is going to be the mass detection, right? So when the people are getting into a particular area, whether they have worn a mask on their face or not. And this kind of, obviously this analytics is going to really be handy, right? In terms of this pandemic, what we are going through. And these are the new normals in security, what we can see, right? And we talk about again we have mentioned about contactless access control. Why do we need a cards to really have? Because now going forward, people are going to really be conscious about what they are going to touch, what they are going to I mean, obviously going forward, that is where is going to be the key point. So yes, these are the new normals of the security industry, what I can see. And we are, and as far as answering again Vivek's question, that OEMs are really gearing up, right? So for a product management team of ours, right? When initially we used to only focus upon our product enhancement in terms of flexibility, in terms of scalability and stuff like that. But now after this pandemic, obviously the focus has been changed, right? So we have a clear cut use case in front of us, which the challenge in front of us, which we have to answer. And I think our team has really done a good job in terms of addressing to those real time customer challenges. And we really look forward to bring in more and more enhancements in the product by obviously getting the feedback from our customers. Sam.
Thank you, Ritesh. And you know now who is your friend, and I hope you understand the concept of finder's fee. So you'll keep some of it for me. So thank you very much. I think you brought out some very valid points. Let me go to John. John, you are a pioneer and a widely respected leader in drone technology. I have been privy to some of the amazing work that you have been doing, and and then in Jonet and at Indian Institute of Drones. And So how do you see the whole operating environment, which has become pretty much the low-touch economy is here to stay, the contactless commerce people are talking, and I think drones and robots and the non-human would be probably the more bigger beneficiary of it. So what are the, in such an environment, how is kind of the drone technology emerging and the counter drone technology? And you also have applications, civilian applications, you have military applications. The Chinese have been showing that, how they deliver, food packets and TV and soups by drones. So where is the world heading? So your 3 minutes.
Right, sir. So firstly, thank you so much for those good words the way you started off. And coming to the drone technology and what is happening, in terms of business, except for the supply chain, the drone industry is not affected much. In fact, the demand has gone up post-pandemic compared to what it was before pandemic. That really has asked, in fact, it boosted a lot of those startups who were also looking for businesses. A lot of demand has risen. Now, saying that from the securities perspective, you have been in the army. You know how important the security and knowing what is happening on the other side, which is more important to us. Now, from that perspective, we're always ahead of anything, and we are the third dimension. With due respect to all the speakers who they've been talking, it's always the second dimension. We add the third dimension by extending your eyes beyond the limits. So the progressive DGCS has really been very smart last year and given a lot of approvals to a lot of companies and drones, and we are also doing a lot of trials for beyond visual line of sight operations, which really boosts the amount of security what we have been really discussing or looking with basic video analytics or other things. But with drones, yeah, definitely it's pacing at a very good speed. Plus, with the relationship that has been disturbed with China, Indian manufacturers, OEMs have been seeing a real positive outcome. We are manufacturing a lot of small micro components which otherwise were imported mostly from China. Now, this is giving more innovation for Indian startups. So that is something which we have seen, and a lot of new innovation. I like your analogy of how much time it has been going down in terms of new innovation. That was really interesting to know. So that's about drones and robotics. Obviously, with nothing much to speak about robotics. They have been evolving slowly, but the competition has really gone up in terms of robotic security aspects. That's it from my side, sir, because I want to stick to time.
Thank you very much. And I think you saved a minute, so probably we can get back to you in the second round. And Mr. Roop Singh Kuntal, you are a tall industry leader, so hate to keep you waiting. Firstly, my apologies for keeping you waiting for so long. I would have loved you right batting in the front of the order. So you can take up any of the themes which the panelists have highlighted and bring in your huge entrepreneurial, technologist, integrators or industry body perspective. You wear multiple hats. Or any new thoughts about the new normal, new security technologies or new technologies which have emerged in the deliberations at IISM, or any other themes relevant to the topic which have not been covered. So all yours, sir. Your 3 minutes. And I'm very happy that we have at least managed to give one exposure to everything.
Yeah. Thank you, Shyam. I start with, because I have my 30 years of journey into security profession. So I started my career as system integrator. I'd never seen the new normal in security. I'd never ever seen. So security is always on top priority, and there was nothing normal in security. So basically, the COVID-19 pandemic will have an impact on the physical security industry. Great. So it will boost adoption of new technologies to address a variety of threats which are coming after this pandemic. Because, and also it will map the paths for new involvement of physical security technologies. So people are thinking, many corporates, they are thinking for different kind of things. So I will say that there is three things. One is the digitization, automation, and security. These key component of new normal. So once these things will take place, the people will think on that. Many organizations across sector are changing their business model, such as healthcare, banking, retail, manufacturing. They are thinking because other businesses are, either they are not able to operate. Entire business model is changing globally, especially in India. You can see there is a lot of businesses are in very difficult situation. They are either they are in closed down position, or some of they don't have sustainability into their market segment. Like Vivek Tiwari said, the aviation industry is more affected globally. In India, there are few airlines they are doing, and they spend a lot of money on their infrastructure, and security for their infrastructure is. He said what kind of situation the aviation industry is facing. So much of expenditure has to invested on the infrastructure, and now investment on security. So now digitization and automation and security in place will have opportunity for like OEMs, like this Milestone is already there in the field, and Vivek Prakash is already talk about what kind of requirement they are going to generate to identify the people entering into facilities, because half of the, yes, he's right, 60% face is covered by mask. So how will see it? You can't say to security guard, go and remove the mask and check who is he or she. So the technology will take place, and for this we have to think totally different. And security professionals are coming with variety of ideas how to implement this. So again, there is a shift from offices to remote, because remote working has fundamentally changed not only day-to-day operations of an organization, but also CSOs plan for future, because it's again a in a thought ready available for CSOs to think what will happen in future and how we'll address the situation in future. The global norms will fundamentally change, a process we are already witnessing, and that places more demands. At the same time, our way of life having been transformed by social distancing. It's already talked about by the other panelists. So focus on security professional must be ready to deal the latest technologies, because learning, training, and to understand, these are the key elements for the security professionals to understand technology and use that technology for the appropriate or optimum use of that, or optimum information they can gather from those technologies. That is more important, because training, education, training, and learning those practical challenges is very, very important. New normal for security leader to learn more than technology, nurturing culture that recognizes security a top priority. Again, there was a Mushtaq knows that in ASIS conferences or meeting, we always talk about synergy between business leaders, between functional leader, and between security leaders. That is the core now. How they will synergize their strategies, how they will synergize to address various challenges after this COVID. Because this is from my side, and I think most of the security professionals working day to day to address those situations. And thank you, IFSEC, for customizing such a very good panel discussion where OEMs, system integrators, where the end users are there to put their points. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What I picked up from your is a very old quote which was said, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And these days people are saying that culture has all the three meals, has strategy for all the three wheels.
Yes.
So that is what I picked up, and the point of synergy between the business functional leaders, security, admin, business resiliency, safety, all the professionals have to come together to deliver as a composite whole. So we can do two things, Adish. Either we can take one or two questions, or if you're not there, or if there are no questions, we have about 5 minutes left, and we started about 7 minutes late, and we will probably finish.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Colonel Sam. We have one very pertinent question from the audience,
Yeah.
which I would let you do the honors, please, and pass it on to the panelists as you deem fit.
Yeah, please. Can you read out the question, please?
Okay. So let me just quickly open my mail. Yes. So how is Atmanirbhar India campaign going to impact the security industry in India, especially in the post-COVID scenario?
Yeah. Anyone?
So basically, to address this Atmanirbhar, we have a lot of opportunity to manufacture CCTV cameras, access control system, a lot of stuff we can manufacture in India and we can provide to all these business houses. And because these products will be in demand after 1.5 years. So if we are ready to address those 1.5 years after demand, then this is the good opportunity to the manufacturer in India who is going to start make in India, made for India kind of things.
And so simpler answer would probably be anything which was made in China, and which is about 56% of everything in the world. So you can make most of it. Rupal, very quick, 10 seconds.
Yeah. So as at Quess, as system integration is part of our business, we have given a lot of emphasis and promotion to new startups, coming from Atmanirbhar, coming out of that, and supporting them and paneling them for our final security delivery to the customer, and very very quickly picking on the with mask, how can you pick up the attendance and recognition? I think retina scanner is also one of the is the answer for ensuring that you're having the right person inside your system. And this has also been one of the from Atmanirbhar, we have one of us SME to whom we are supporting, bringing this technology for the customers.
So Modi ji ne aaj bola, John has been saying that for a long time, Atmanirbhar India.
Absolutely.
Okay, absolutely. So we are kind of, so what we'll do is we are getting little out of time. So we'll probably go to each one of you in the same order in which you spoke, probably 15 to 20 seconds, a quick closing remark, quick closing thoughts, and then probably I'll take a minute to summarize the proceedings. Adish, I hope that's fine with, we have about 4 minutes, and then we are on time. Okay. So Vivek,
I'll start.
Tiwary.
Okay. So
Yeah.
in the change time, I realized that my view is that this is going to stay for a long time, and security is going to play a major role. So security leaders have to gear up. Technology has to identify where all it can collaborate and plug in the gaps and give in new solutions. And people have kind of, they need to upskill at every level to provide the required level of service. There is a silver lining in all this, particularly for the security industry. It's up for grabs, a bigger role, a bigger say in scheme of things. It's up to us how far and how quickly we go.
Thank you. Thank you. We can go to Mushtaq.
Right. So what I would say is security industry has performed phenomenally well during this pandemic, and I think going forward, if we'd be able to identify the potential future needs, that's where is the space we need to fill in, and the expectations are huge, creating synergies. So yes, this would be my closing remark, please. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. So we see the convergence of between the CSO and CISO. That's one thing which is going to be here and coming forward. Agile technology, simple to use, easy to operate. But one thing I must say, it doesn't come cheap. And because it is agile, it meets and it adapts to the challenges immediately. So it's very important that, as I said initially also, that prepare your crisis management committee, which should have the necessary stakeholders from your organization up until the board level, who can actually plan the ongoing security IT needs or the facility needs of your organization in a much better way. It should not be just do it scenarios, or COVID-19 should not be your business goal.
Vivek, before
So
you
I'll
speak,
just-
I will give you all the points that I picked up. I made a lot of notes from yours. First is that hope Corona is not going away. Hope is no strategy. Every adversity is also an opportunity. So other than that, you can give your.
So primarily, it was that message to everyone. It is time for us to realize that enabling business might just be becoming core of what we do. We will have to leverage technology for delivering safe work environment, not just at the point of entry, but while people come to the buildings. There will be a time when people will come back to work, and when that happens, we have to make sure that it's not just resumption of office; it is continued operation of people continuing to work from office.
Okay. Ritesh, you want to go next?
Yes, Sam. So, Sam, my closing remark would be that yes, indeed, I mean, technology companies have to play their part in terms of getting prepared. But I would also add to it that they have to work more closely with the end users, right, and their requirements. And that is where the key lies, because the more technology companies work alongside to the customer and act as a consultant to them rather than just a product supplier, rather than just supplying something. So I think working closely with the customer, solving their real time problems, and ensuring the safe and secure environment for them, right, in whatever way possible. I think there that holds the key going forward for all the technology companies like us. And yes, we I think we are geared up for that, and people are doing, technology companies are doing a good job in really meeting customer expectation, and they have shown it in the last 3-4 months what we have seen, and it is going to only improve. Sam, that is my closing remark. Thank you.
John?
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, my closing remarks would be, it's very nice to listen to everybody. Well, on one hand, a lot of people are struggling with the businesses because of COVID. It has really hit bad. And on the other side, there are a lot of people who are taking advantage of this situation, making money, getting bad businesses for others, that is actually making money for somebody else. Now, there should be some sort of checks that has to be conducted, be it security products or healthcare products, whatever it is, including government. Most of the drone projects that have been given approval during this period were not paid by the most of the government agencies, mentioning that we don't have funds to do that, so please volunteer and do it. No, it doesn't work that way. A lot of funds have been allotted. These points have to be noted somewhere by government agencies and maybe taken care of. That's all.
Rup Singh Kuntal Sahab.
See, at ISSM, what we are planning to, starting a new for the new normal. There is a new learning started from CEO to CSOs. So at ISSM, we are customizing some courses, especially for the security industry, security and safety industry, and people should come, and security professional also joining for the new courses and all that. So a new learning to new normal is very important and key area to understand technologies and to implement them for the safety and security of the masses. Either they are at home or they are at wherever they are going. So they must feel secure and safe. That is important.
So thank you very much. What I have learned, what I have understood, if I can just summarize in 20 seconds, everything that you have said, the problem is not going away. It's here to stay. Hope is no strategy. while security will have a bigger role, but we have to make security central to the business. And then that has to be the core of everything that we do. Convergence will be important, whether it is the industry, academia, government collaboration, or it is the convergence between the CISO or CSO, resiliency, HSC, and a whole lot of and legal and every professional, or whether it is between the end users and integrators and customers. And thank you, Ritesh, for taking away consultant's job. Okay, and Rupal, thank you for bringing in the business aspect, that wise investments in technology. So some fascinating discussions. My key takeaways are the future, and Vivek for bringing out the human elements in leadership. So my takeaways are the future of security would be still lean and charismatic leadership, but less man guarding, less human dependence, perhaps a mix of men, women, and robots and machines, low touch or contactless or business relevant, intel-led, predictive, tech-enabled, featuring a range of contemporary technologies and also getting more out of the existing systems, process-oriented, cost-conscious, offering ROI with business as the central theme. So the worst is behind us or shall be soon. In a rebounding economy with high potential, with multiple risks and challenges, security professionals will continue to be in demand, will have a job to do, and our CEOs will look up to us. So I'm sure each of us in the fraternity would rise to the challenge. So big thank you, all esteemed panelists. You've been awesome. Thank you for a great pulse of wisdom. And big thank you, Informa India and Pankaj Jain, Adish Sharma, Team IFSEC, to each of you wonderful panelists and all the people who kind of took time to be with us. We sign off and look forward to the balance of IFSEC today and tomorrow. Best of luck, and back to you, Adish. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Colonel Sam.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Sam.
Thank you indeed.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the encouraging words, and thank you, Rupal Sinha, Vivek Prakash, Mushtaq Khan, Ritesh Deokar, Roop Singh Kuntal, Vivek Tiwari, and John Livingstone. Thank you all for taking time out and joining today, and for the wonderful words of wisdom that I believe the attendees would definitely have received from your conversation. So till we meet the next time, it's goodbye for all, and thank you once again.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.